The locked room. I rented the house because it was cheap. Too cheap. The owner, an old man with shaking hands, gave me the keys with a warning. Don't open the room at the end of the hallway. He didn't say why, and I didn't ask. It was an old countryside house, creaking and crooked, but it had charm. Wooden floors, a fireplace, tall windows with ivy creeping up the outside. I moved in with nothing but two suitcases and a sense that I needed to disappear for a while. The locked room stood at the very end of the narrow upstairs hallway. Its door was gray, faded, with a rusted keyhole. I passed it every day. I'd never tried the handle. Not at first. The first night was quiet. The second night, I heard breathing. Not mine. Deep, strained, as if someone struggled to inhale. I got out of bed, checked every room. Nothing. But when I stood outside the locked door, the breathing stopped. The third night, I dreamed of the door. I stood in front of it, and it was open. Something stood in the middle of the room. Tall, thin, with no face. Just smooth skin where a face should be. It turned toward me slowly. I woke up gasping. The door was still closed, but the key was on the floor. I didn't remember taking it. I left it on the windowsill. That day, the house felt colder. The walls seemed narrower. I tried to keep busy, cleaned, read, made tea, but my eyes kept drifting toward the hallway, toward that door. That night, the breathing returned, louder, closer, and then a knock from inside the room. One knock, then silence. I didn't sleep. In the morning, there was a note under my bedroom door. You heard me. Let me out. I didn't write it. I burned the note. Moved a bookshelf in front of the door. That night it moved, not fell, moved, as if something pushed it from the other side. The next day I went into town, asked about the house. People grew quiet. One woman said, "He told you about the room, didn't he?" I nodded. She didn't ask more. Just said, "Don't open it. No matter what you hear." I returned. The bookshelf was on the floor. A second note. "Please, just open the door." I ignored it. For 3 nights, nothing happened. Then on the fourth, footsteps inside the room, pacing, then scratching, then whispering. I remember you. That was the first time I felt real fear. Not curiosity, not discomfort. Fear, because I didn't know who or what could remember me. I boarded up the door, nailed it shut, screwed it down. At 3:12 a.m., every night, the boards shook. Then a voice. You can't leave. Not until I'm free. I tried to move out, pack my bags, but the front door wouldn't open. Not locked, just unmoving, like the house was holding me in. I smashed the window, couldn't break it. I screamed for help. No one heard. I stayed in the living room for 2 days. No sleep, no food. Then the door upstairs opened, slowly, loudly. Footsteps came down the hallway. They stopped outside the living room. I held my breath. A voice. I'm here now. You can see me. And then, silence. I never saw what it was, but I feel it. Always in reflections, in shadows, in the way the house creaks like it's breathing. The room is empty now, but the door never closes, and I can't leave, because I opened it. The Forgotten Hotel. I never meant to stay at the Holloway Hotel. It wasn't on the map. No reviews online, no photos. But that night, during the storm, with the rain hammering down and the roads fading into a blur, it appeared, golden lights glowing through the fog, a sign swinging in the wind. The Holloway Hotel. I was too tired to be cautious. The lobby smelled of old dust and perfume. Velvet armchairs lined the walls. A grand piano sat silent in the corner. Wallpaper peeled at the edges. At the reception desk, a woman stood motionless. Her smile didn't touch her eyes. Welcome, she said. Room 213 is ready for you. I hadn't booked anything, but she slid the brass key across the desk. I took it. The hallway upstairs stretched too long, like it shifted when you blinked. The numbers on the doors weren't in order. 208, 209, 215, 213. My room was slightly ajar. Inside, the air smelled damp. Heavy curtains blocked the windows. The bed creaked when I dropped my bag. I lay down, too exhausted to think. That night I dreamed of footsteps, slow, deliberate, stopping outside my door. A knock, scratching. When I woke, the door was wide open. The hallway was empty. The second night I heard music. The grand piano downstairs, playing by itself. A broken melody, looping and discordant. I stayed in bed, the covers pulled tight around me. The third night I didn't sleep. At 3:17 a.m., whispers leaked through the walls. Not one voice, dozens, layered, laughing, sobbing, pleading. I pressed my ear against the wall. One voice came clear. "Get out before she sees you." I packed my bag before sunrise. I ran downstairs. The woman at the desk was still there, her grin wider now, her eyes wrong. "Leaving so soon?" she asked. I ignored her and yanked at the front door. It didn't move. "You checked in," she said. "You can't leave without checking out." She opened a black ledger. "Sign here." I looked down. My name was already written, in handwriting I didn't recognize. The walls seemed to breathe. Lights flickered and dimmed. Shadows lengthened, stretching fingers toward me. I ran upstairs, hallways twisted. Every door, a 213. No way out. I chose one at random and shoved it open. Dust. Torn curtains. A cracked mirror leaning against the wall. In the mirror, something behind me. Tall, smiling, inhuman. I spun around. Nothing. Back to the mirror. It was still there, grinning. I don't remember how long I stayed frozen, but I know this. I never left. The storm outside is gone. The world outside is gone. Only the Holloway Hotel remains, and room 213 waits for its next guest. The mirror in the attic. I inherited the house from an uncle I barely remembered. Old, creaky, sitting at the edge of a dying town. No neighbors close enough to hear a scream. The house was empty, except for the attic. The attic door was padlocked. The first night, I heard something moving above me, scraping, whispering, a soft, rhythmic tapping. I slept with the lights on. On the third day, I found the key taped behind the kitchen sink. I should have thrown it away. Instead, I climbed the stairs at dusk, the floorboards moaning with every step. I unlocked the attic door. It swung open slowly, exhaling a smell of dust, rot, and something metallic. Inside, the attic was empty, except for a mirror. Tall, cracked, covered in a sheet. Something about it made my skin crawl. I almost closed the door, but then the sheet moved. Not from the wind. The air was still. It shifted as if something underneath was breathing. I yanked the sheet away. The mirror was old, stained, the surface cloudy. But I could see my reflection. Almost. My reflection didn't move when I did. When I raised my hand, it hesitated. When I smiled, it frowned. And behind my reflection, deep in the shadows, something else watched me. I slammed the attic door and bolted it shut. I told myself it was stress, old house nerves. But every night after that, I heard the tapping, closer. One night, I found muddy footprints leading from the attic door to my bedroom. Small footprints, child-sized. I moved out. I sold the house for next to nothing. I thought it was over, until last night. Last night, I woke up at 3:13 a.m. The mirror stood at the foot of my bed. I don't own a mirror. I don't know how it got there. My reflection was smiling, but I wasn't.